I want to talk about that unabashedly positive. See, I'm always a positive minded person. Think about the positive minded person. If a doctor told me, if I went to the doctor and they said, Philip, you have cancer, and it's spread all over the place, and there's not much we can do, and the prognosis isn't good, and so, maybe with some treatments you might be able to last 6 months. You have to deal with a lot of pain and a lot of this and a lot of that. And I say, oh, well, there's a solution. I'm sure there's a way we can deal with this. People say, well, you're in denial. But no, it's not a matter of denial. I'm just not going to be negative about it and just throw up my hands and say, oh, it's over. I'm going to go and get whatever treatments I can get. And I'm going to think positive and think positive and think positive. And, at the end of 6 months, I'll probably be dead. They'll be having my funeral. I'll be laid into the ground. Now, think about that. What if I think positive? And what if in 6 months I'm dead? People might look at that and say, oh, yeah, see, that's what I did. But let's stop and think. Even with that prospect, could you really make a case against positive thinking? Because think of the alternative. It's not about the outcome. I think that's the mistake that people make. Everything is about the outcome. Positive thinking is about the outcome. You remember I said before, let's get into my thing. You got 16 teams at the tournament, the NCAA tournament. All 16 of these teams are thinking positive. We're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to win this game. We're going to take it one game at a time. We're going to win. We're going to win. Every team is thinking the same thing. 16 teams are thinking the same thing. At the end of this, only 8 teams are going to succeed, which means 50% of them are going to be wrong if it's all about the outcome. If it is all about the outcome, only 16 teams, only 8 of those 16 teams are going to win. Again, obviously, as a scientific thing, positive thinking is a bad theory. It's a bad theory. See, and one thing I learned in science a long time ago, if I say that while standing on Earth, if I release an object that's heavier than air, it will fall. If there are no other forces going in the opposite, I mean, if I drop a piece of steel and I have an electromagnet above me, of course it's going to go up. But just under normal circumstances, without having to go through because in science you got to go through this lengthy list of under these conditions and that condition, because people can always sneak in some shit. But anyway, if I release this object, it's going to fall. If I release the Kraken. Anyway, forget that. This is just a joke, and I'm not going to upload this because it's too silly. But anyway, if I do that, of course the thing is going to fall. That's going to happen. That's the nature of things. That's the nature of stuff. Things happen according to their nature. A positive attitude will not make you successful. Because if it was scientific principle, here's the point. My point is about scientific principles. A scientific principle has to be true all the time. One exception to that rule, one exception that you observe to that principle means that the principle is gone, is no longer valid. Just one exception. Now, in the case of having the 16 teams, when you get down to the Sweet 16 in the NCAA tournament, we know that principle isn't true. That if you have a positive attitude, you'll win. That principle definitely isn't true because 8 of those teams are not going to make it. 8 of those teams with positive attitudes are going to fail. And 8 of those teams are going to move forward. And in fact, if all 16 of the teams had negative attitudes, imagine you get this tournament of 16 teams and they all thought negative. We're going to lose. We're going to lose. Every team is thinking that. All 16 of the teams are thinking. And they play in the tournament. Half of them, what they said is going to come true. They're going to lose. And the other half they're going to win. Wow, I'm surprised we won. And let's say they all have negative attitudes all the way through. So when you get down to the Elite Eight, they got negative attitudes. All of them still, again, although that wouldn't happen, but if it did, well, we're going to lose, we're going to lose. Half of them is going to be true. And you had a Final Four. And then when you get to Final Four, they're going to be thinking, oh, we're going to lose, we're going to lose. You know, all four of those teams. And then they get down to the championship game. And the two teams playing against each other, they both thinking negative. But one of them is going to win. So you get the same results if everybody was thinking negative and if everybody was thinking positive. It doesn't matter. Positive attitude, negative attitude wind up being the same thing. So as a scientific principle, having a positive attitude leading you to success simply is a theory that doesn't work. That's so easy to debunk as a scientific theory that it's not even funny. It's just, but here's the thing. Remember, well, I didn't put it on this page. If I put it up on PH Lewis 86, it depends, because I could put it on Rock Painter on Squirrel World X. But what's important is this. It's not about this being science. It's not science. Thinking positive and positive thinking leading you to success is not a scientific principle. That's so obvious that for anybody to fight it on science grounds is, I don't even know what to compare that to. I guess it is like shooting fish in a barrel. That's easy to debunk. You know, I think a child in kindergarten could debunk that. Positive thinking as a science thing. But to say that everything has to be scientific is wrong. I think that a positive attitude is its own thing. If I think positive and think positive and think positive and have a sense of hope with every treatment, using the example I said at the very beginning, I might do every treatment and every treatment, but I still keep a positive attitude. You know, my health is failing, I'm going down. I said, well, you never know. Things might get better. You know, tomorrow it could work out better. But right now I'm just going to enjoy myself or try to make the most of it. Or at least, you know, I didn't have as much pain today as I did yesterday. You know, sometimes in life, I may be thinking the same thing with being diabetic. You know, I have pain of neuropathy in my feet. I have a lot of things going on. I'm not quite like I used to be. But I could think negative. I could think, oh, it sucks. Like one person I know was saying that. Oh, it sucks to be diabetic. Oh, it sucks. Oh, it sucks. God, I mean, I have been around people like that. And I'm thinking, I just hope I never develop that attitude. I hope I never think like that. You know, it's not about the outcome. That's a hard thing. This is not a science argument. For all the science-minded people, please understand that if you attack me on science grounds, you easily win. Why even do it when you know you got... Because you do it for ego reasons, not because you're really trying to make a point.